Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach for trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and certainly in the large cap tech stocks, the Mag 7 stocks that I follow, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and ES, the futures, ES is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades. They hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And NQ is a derivative of NDX. And again, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the reason I use positional analysis, options, as the basis for my analysis, I believe options are forward-looking. They're about expectations. For example, if levels are moving higher from day to day, this indicates that traders are looking for, expecting, and positioning themselves in the options market for higher prices. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups, for entries, and exits. And we'll see today that sometimes what goes on after the market closes and during the day may change the, make the positional analysis not as relevant. And we'll see that with the NASDAQ today. Now, more about that later. All right, so real-time order flow in Bookmap, real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, or in the case of NASDAQ today, to confirm that it was not right. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel on Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hello, Caesar. Welcome. Glad you're here as well. And hello, everyone else. Welcome. Glad you're here as well. Here's my agenda for today, Friday, April 26th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events and earnings, starting with earnings last night, and then today, PCE data and Michigan consumer sentiment. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. All right, let's start with news items. First of all, let's go to the S&P 500. Google and Microsoft did report earnings after the market closes. More about that later. Let's just take a quick look at Google. This is the reaction from yesterday and a little bit of consolidation today. So the reaction after the market closed yesterday for Google. And for Microsoft. Very similar. Sharp move up after the market closed yesterday. A little bit of a down move and consolidation for Microsoft today. We'll take a look at these in more detail. All right, so that was the reaction to Google and Microsoft earnings. All right, so let's take a look now at the reaction to PCE data. First of all, let's take a look and see what the numbers showed. So this is the PCE data that came out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It looks like the year-over-year PCE data came in a little bit greater than expected and month-over-month in line. So that's what the data was showing. Then Michigan consumer sentiment came out at 10 a.m., and that was a little bit less than expected, less than the previous number. There was a pretty big reaction to PCE data. This is the 8:30 PCE data. Quick move higher, right up to SPY 509. S&P 500 found resistance at that level, moved all the way down to this combo 1 level, a SPY 506.46 combo 1 level, acted as support. So up and then down reaction to the PCE data, and not much of a reaction to the 10 a.m. Michigan consumer sentiment data. All right, just a note, next week, the FOMC meeting is on Tuesday and Wednesday, and the announcement and press conference on Wednesday. So more about that on Monday. And we'll take a, actually, let's go ahead, and that's the news items. It's been a very busy last couple days with earnings and PCE data today. All right, so let's move on now to positional analysis. So this is the ES Futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to take a quick look at the SPX, the underlying index. We've all seen this chart before. One-day chart for SPX, 5-month rally that began last year for about 1,150 points in SPX. And then a correction began April 1st. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to a 30-day 1-hour chart. There's the top of the green trend line. SPX high was right around 52.65. April 1st. Correction began. And then last Friday, expiration Friday. This is expiration Friday for April. A move higher began. Pretty typical of a change in tone after expiration. All right, so today, SPX is trading up above the volatility trigger, upper daily expected move, and call wall. All right, so let's take a look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. And note that SPX yesterday did trade up to that upper weekly expected move, and now today gapped up above that level and is continuing to move higher. All right, so that's the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX last Friday. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. That's these lines right here. Also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX yesterday. And I did note, I do post these numbers in Discord. I did note that this is based on the closing price of SPX at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, right before the Google and Microsoft earnings came out. All right, so SPX trading again above the upper daily expected move. All right, let's take a look at the other levels on this chart. The dark red lines are showing Spotgamma levels. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels. They're based on gamma-weighted open interest. These do update every day, and they're available on a wide variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim, again a 30-day 1-hour chart. First of all, 5,000, that is the put wall. That's the strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And it did act as support yesterday. And now SPX trading well above that level. That is also the absolute gamma strike. That's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. So that's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 5,055. That's the Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to subdue or enhance or increase volatility. And above that level, like SPX is trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And then finally, the call wall is at 5,100. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. And note that SPX is trading above that level now. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1-minute chart to get a closer look at the levels that are in play for today. So this is the showing yesterday and today. Gap down after Meta earnings. Rally began around 10 a.m. yesterday, and it looks like the rally is just continuing today. So again, levels in play for today. SPX above the volatility trigger. And note that level did move lower from yesterday, slightly lower from 5,075 to 55. So slight move lower in the volatility trigger. Otherwise, there were no changes in the key daily levels for SPX. Here's the upper daily expected move. Again, this is based on the closing price of SPX at 4 p.m. And then here's the call wall at 5,100. A lot of consolidation around that level. And now SPX is trading above that level. All right, let's go back to Bookmap now. So in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show SPX levels. There are none shown on this chart. This is the 5,100. This, you can't really see it. It's kind of, the label is obscured by 5,099. That's a combo 1 level for SPX. Just above that is the 5,100 call wall. That's this line right here, this white line. That's the call wall. So you can see the consolidation around that level. And point of control, this dark purple solid line just above that level. All right, so I have SPX levels on this chart. Note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. That offset today is somewhere between 31 and 32. So I'm using 32. So I'm showing SPX 5100 at ES 5132. So that's pretty close. Again, that number somewhere between 31 and 32 today. I'm also showing SPY levels on this chart. I pointed out several before. These SPY levels, there's often a reaction at these levels. It's just amazing. But again, 509 resistance, this combo level, 506.46, that's a C1 level, combo 1 level being the most important. That combines SPX and SPY, gamma weighted open interest into one level, converted to a SPY number, and then now converted to an ES number. And then the SPY 506 level acting as support, 509 again acting as resistance. And now S&P 500 moving higher. I also pointed out earlier today this ES right around 51.25 acting as support multiple times. Earlier it looked like there were some smaller iceberg orders around that level. You can still see this one with the on-chart indicator. All right, so those are the levels in play for the S&P 500. So again, key is the S&P 500 is above the SPX 5100 call wall, and the SPY call wall moved up from 512 to 513. So the call wall for SPY is still well above. And note that level again did move higher. That was the only shift in level for SPY. All right, so more on setups in a few minutes. Let's move on to NASDAQ now. All right, here's NASDAQ, NQ Futures and Bookmap. Let's take a quick look at the underlying index charts. I'm going to go to QQQ. And note my reference to the shifts in key daily levels versus news and being confirmed with price action and hero. For QQQ, all four key daily levels did shift lower today. And that was based on the options market yesterday. And for QQQ, closed at 4 p.m. before Google and Microsoft reported earnings. All right, so QQQ, just like the S&P 500 with the SPY 5060 gamma level acting as support. Here for NASDAQ, the QQQ 427 gamma level acted as support right after the open. Note the call wall for QQQ at 428, that level did move lower. Price well above that level. Volatility trigger at 425, so not even shown on this chart. All right, so NASDAQ QQQ continues to move higher above all of these key daily levels. So this is the 430. That is the last QQQ Spotgamma level. Let's take a quick look at NDX. All right, so that 430 is a large gamma 3 level. Did act as support and a pullback in the move higher. All right, let's take a quick look at NDX, and we'll see that NDX is trading also above all of the levels. The only level remaining, Spotgamma level remaining above, is 18,000. So NDX trading above the volatility trigger, the call wall, and the put wall, which is actually higher than the call wall. All right, for NDX, the volatility trigger did shift higher. All right, more about setups in a few minutes. So again, $427.0 gamma level acting as support. Then the 428 call wall, then the 430 large gamma 3 level acting as support for pullbacks. All right, let's take a quick look at gamma notional. All right, Sai says, seems we cannot see your screen. Does anybody else have that problem? All right, so it looks like it's coming through on YouTube. I can see it on YouTube. And Discord says my stream is still running. Steven, Caesar, anyone else? Can you see my screen on Discord? Okay, Sai says it's working now. All right, Steven confirms. All right, Caesar, Jerry, Katinga. Great. All right, so it looks like everything's working okay. All right, so let's move on. All right, I've got a lot to cover. So let's just take a quick look at gamma notional, and then we'll skip over the Vanna model. So gamma notional at the beginning of the day was negative for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. Note these numbers did shift more negative from yesterday. And now again, the indices are trading well above their volatility triggers and may become positive on Monday, or certainly less negative. All right, so earlier today there was some Vanna fuel in the tank, and that is probably used up for a good bit, has been used up for a good bit today. All right, so based on this information, my thesis for the day was kind of a two-part thesis. First of all, for ES, just based on the shifts in levels, minor shifts in levels for ES, just neutral. And that is based on information before Google and Microsoft reported earnings and the PCE data. And then NQ, based on just the shifts in levels for QQQ, that would lead to a bearish thesis. But again, that was before Microsoft, Google reported earnings and the PCE data. So that information that came out after the close of the options market yesterday kind of refutes that thesis. All right, so let's move on. Let's take a look at some setups now. All right, so I want to take a look at an alternative idea before I take a look at the day trades, or the trades for today. This is a little bit longer term trade, and this is the SPX term structure. So this is volatility, implied volatility shown on the vertical axis by date, expiration date on the horizontal axis. And the idea here is to sell high volatility and buy lower volatility. And a good way to do that is a calendar spread. So this is just an alternative, a little bit longer term trade. And note, this is if you take this calendar, this is a Friday, Monday calendar. So it's short term. This is May 3rd, so next Friday. And this is May 6th, so the following Monday. And note this volatility, implied volatility, could be high because of the FOMC announcement on Wednesday and also the ISM data on Friday. So anyway, higher implied volatility on Friday, lower implied volatility on Monday. The idea is to sell Friday, buy Monday. So that is a very short-term calendar spread. Let's take a look at, let's go to Thinkorswim now. And I set up, give that just a moment to sort out. So I set up, this is a simulated trade. So I'm not showing my actual trade, I'm showing simulated trade. So this is a calendar, a double calendar. So first of all, this was kind of speculative, put on yesterday with the closing price right around 50.50. This is 5100. So this is a call calendar. Note that the idea here is selling 14.6 volatility and buying 13.2 volatility. So you're taking advantage of that skew in time. And then here, this was an at-the-money calendar yesterday. Again, taking advantage of skew in time, selling 15.37 and buying 14. So the total, doing it as a double calendar, total risk just a little over $600. Right now, the profit right around $260. And if I had done this for real, this particular trade for real, I would exit at the end of the day. So this is just an idea, something else to look at besides day trades. All right, so let's move. Speaking of day trades now, let's move on. All right, so let's take a look now. Let's move on to execution. And everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, is based on static data. Spotgamma takes open interest data, apply their algorithms to that data to come up with the key daily levels that I show on my charts every day. Now let's take a look at options trades. So let's go to real-time data now, go to execution. Let's take a look and see what options traders have been doing today. I've got something new to show you here. All right, so first of all, what this chart is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So this is an index-based signal, hero signal. There are two lines on this chart. The first, the white line, is showing price for SPX. And the second line, the purple line, is showing the hero signal. That's HIRO, Hedging Impact Real-Time Options. So that's showing options trades and market maker hedging activity and those four index components, SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. And a rising hero signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions in those index products, and a falling hero signal indicates they're taking negative delta positions in those index products. All right, so yesterday, actually let me zoom in on this chart. All right, so see how it's pretty noisy. So what Spotgamma did yesterday, they introduced this new hero signal they're calling S&P equities. And we'll see in a minute, that looks like, well, let's take a look at it now. So this is combining all 500 S&P 500 components into one signal. So this is looking at options trades, market maker hedging activity for all combined components, 500 components of the S&P 500. All right, let's compare that with this MAG 7 signal, which is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. This is typically the signal that I use for the NASDAQ. All right, let's go back to the full screen view. All right, so let's take a look at this notional value. Total delta notional value, $3.35 billion. So that's for the MAG 7. Let's go to the S&P 500 equities. 3.8 billion, and a very similar curve. So what this looks like to me is this S&P 500 equities hero signal is essentially the MAG 7 plus 493 stocks. And MAG 7 making up, the last time I checked, about 90% of the total signal. Let's see if that's still the case. Just a little bit less than 90%. The last time I've checked 88, 89% of the total signal. So again, essentially it looks like, so far, this is the first time I've seen this, is the MAG 7 signal plus 493 that gives you another 11 or 12%. All right, so let's use this signal. All right, so this is for the S&P 500 equities. All right, Kenobi says, it's a bit concerning that the MAG 7 has that much weight. We might as well just focus on the MAG 7. Yeah, I understand that. That's why I'm pointing this out, the close relationship between these two curves, these two signals. But this is the first day that I've used this, so it was just introduced yesterday in the Spotgamma PM Founders Note. So this is the first day that I'm using it. So it's going to take a while to watch this and see how it performs. All right, and I do want to point out a couple of spots where, well, first of all, let's look at this long signal, and then I'll take a look at a couple of spots where I think maybe for a scalp, the S&P 500 signal was good, but overall, for the overall trend, this SP equities signal has been better. All right, so let's go. So we see that really for about the first 15 minutes, the signal was pretty flat. Then right around 9:45, traders started taking positive delta positions. Price moves higher. So let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Let's go back to the S&P 500. Zoom in. And I'm going to focus on let's zoom in for the first couple of hours. All right, so it looks like the S&P 500 again reversed right around the SPY 5060 gamma level. Let's check the time on that. So that was right around 9:30, just after the cash open. So we know that that hero signal started to move higher about 9:45. So the S&P 500 had already been moving higher. We'll check the S&P 500 signal in just a minute. All right, so let's take a look at the clues in Bookmap here. So first of all, the volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots showing more sellers than buyers. Green volume dots show more market buyers than sellers. So price test right around the 507, 506 gamma level. Aggressive buyers starting to come in. And that really continues. Notice all the green volume dots really all the way up to 509, the level that had acted as resistance before. Note also the liquidity in the order book, limit sell orders just above that level. And price rejecting around that level for about at least, 45 minutes to an hour. Notice also here in the subchart, cumulative volume delta rising. Also as price moves higher, buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher. So again, price moves from the 506 level all the way up to 509, the level that had acted as resistance before. All right, let's go back to Hero. Actually, I'm going to scroll a little bit to the left here. So let's go take a look at the Hero signal again. So this is the Hero signal for equities, the new SB equities. Again, really doesn't start move higher until about 9:45, maybe 9:47, something like that. So let's take a look now at the S&P 500 signal, the signal that we're all used to. So that's up and down. Let's zoom in. So it starts to move higher a little bit earlier. Flow alerts come in, but then it quickly moves lower. A little bit of a head fake there, but really so the overall, I think the SB equities provided a better signal here. Also, let's take a look at this sharp reversal on the Hero signal and the SB 500 signal. Sharp reversal lower. Just looking at that, I would be looking for a short. So that was right around 10:15. So maybe you could interpret this as a kind of a warning. But anyway, after that, the S&P 500 levels off. So the sharp reversal lower in the S&P 500 signal. And so let's go take a look at Bookmap. That was right around 10:15. That would have, let's zoom in on this just a little bit, led to a short scalp here. You can see the aggressive sellers come in, and ES moved down to this 51.25 that had acted as support before, then move higher. So really just a pullback. So better approach, trading that as a pullback. So let's go back and take a look at Hero. So the Hero signal, sharp move lower, setting up a little bit of a scalp, really better as a pullback. Then the SB 500 signal starts to move higher. So let's compare that with the SB equities signal. And really all the SPX S&P 500 equity signal did was level off a little bit. Just the slope became less steep. So really setting up a pullback. And let's take a look at, let me take a look at one other thing here. All right, so if you look at a chart, I'm not going to show it here, just a candlestick chart, a one minute candlestick chart. The pullback was to, let me clear this, was to 508, just a little bit below. Right here, again, this level that had acted as support before, and also the J lines. So those of you who use J lines, this was just a pullback to the J line, so more of a J line curl. All right, so really just a pullback for a long. Same here, just right between 11 and 11:15. All right, so let's zoom out. All right, let me check for questions. All right, Kenobi asks, is XSP active enough for options for it to be factored in the aggregated chart? I don't think so. I don't follow XSP at all. For those of you who may not be familiar with XSP, it is just the price is 1/10 of SPX. It's a cash settled index as far as just like SPX, but it is not something that I follow. I don't think it's very actively traded. I think SPY is much more liquid and actively traded. All right, Caesar says, I'm finding today's activity on Bookmap for ES to be extremely confusing. I've never seen sellers so aggressive putting up big walls, and they just get taken out and they get back in. Very choppy and tough day in my opinion. I agree. So that's why I'm focused more on stocks. All right, so I need to move on. So again, just wanted to introduce that new signal and give my first impressions that it looks like it's just Mag 7 plus another 11 or 12% of the other 493 stocks. All right, so let's take a look at NASDAQ. And let's go to Hero. All right, so just like this is a very similar setup. Here's the index product on the left, the equities product on the right, and the same for NASDAQ. The index product on the left and the equities product on the right. And this time I'm using Mag 7 for the S&P 500. And this is, again, very similar to the SPX, S&P 500 equities signal. Very bullish all day, starting right around 9:45. Traders taking positive delta positions. All right, so let's go take a look at NASDAQ. Again, reversal higher right at the cash open at the 427 zero gamma level. So Caesar, I think the key for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ is watching reactions at these levels. That's why I go to such lengths, take such care to show the correct levels on my futures charts here. All right, so traders taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7, helping to drive NASDAQ higher. All right, let's move on. and take a look at some stocks. All right, so we know that Google reported earnings after the close. So let's take a look at Google. So I showed yesterday's after the market closes reaction to earnings. Now let's zoom in on today so we can just zoom in on this. So really kind of a bearish move lower after Google reported earnings. All right, Caesar says that makes it a lot more clean and useful for both Bookmap and Spotgamma. Think that's a great approach, Doug. You're welcome. Glad you think so. All right. Looks like Google finding resistance at VWAP. That's this line right here multiple times. Let's see what options traders are doing today. So let's go to Hero. Start with Google. Pretty choppy signal today. Pretty difficult to interpret. Google is not the often not the most easy signal to interpret. Let's zoom in on this, see if there's any clue this morning. So more up and down in Hero. Let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so let's move on. There were better setups today. All right, so next, Microsoft also reported earnings after the close. Big move up yesterday, and very similar to Google, move down earlier today, then chop. In this case, cumulative volume delta is showing that traders are selling. Those are showing, again, you can just see all the magenta volume dots, aggressive sellers. Let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to Microsoft. Again, a pretty choppy signal. Let's zoom in on this. The setup in the morning was clear for this move down, the main move down. Flow alert comes in about 2 minutes after the cash open. Microsoft moves down, finds resistance at the 410 call wall as traders continue to take negative delta positions. All right, so when we zoom in and look at the first 30 minutes or so of price action, it makes more sense. $410 call wall. Acted as resistance earlier. Still acting as resistance. All right, let's take a look at Meta. And again, Meta reported earnings on Wednesday after the market closed. Earlier, there was a good short setup in Meta. Let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to Meta. Zoom in. So it took a while for this to set up. But this flow alert came in. Just at 10 a.m. These flow alerts do signal a significant shift in the hedging flow from negative to positive or positive to negative. In this case, acting as a good mean reverting signal. The hero signal had already started to move lower. Flow alert comes in confirming that, and the hero signal moves lower, 10 a.m., setting up a short. And some consolidation at the 440 hedge wall, and then price continues to move lower. Let's go take a look. Here's the reversal at 10 a.m. Alert, hero alert, price moves lower, 440 level, oops. Hedge wall, a little bit of consolidation at that level. And price moves lower. And that was good for, let's say if you got in at 45, good for about 12 points lower, 445. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Very bullish day here in NVIDIA. Remember, Meta said they were going to, and the reason I think the market interpreted that or didn't like the earnings is because Meta said they were going to have significant capital expenditures for AI. I don't know if there were any specific details, but yesterday I noted that AMD, Taiwan Semi, and NVIDIA all rallied based on that news. And it looks like the rally continues for today. So very bullish move here in NVIDIA. All right, Katinga says Metaflow alert showed on flow chart, but not show alert on my watch list. Those alerts on your watch list, they're very temporary. They don't last for very long. I'm not sure what the time period is, but they quickly disappear from the watch list, but they're persistent on the charts. All right, so note that 850 is the call wall, key gamma strike. If you didn't get in very early, there was one pullback around 855, then more pullback as price slowed down right around 865. Again, 865. And note all the green volume dots, rising cumulative volume delta. Also, one other thing with this call wall breach, what happens with a call wall, when traders in a stock, traders are buying calls, market makers sell the calls, and when there's a call wall breach, that's where calls are concentrated. That's also the key gamma strike. Market makers are short calls. Those calls are going deeper in the money. Their delta exposure, that's becoming more negative, and they have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to NVIDIA. I'm going to shift to, whoops. I'm going to shift to calls. So note that was what was driving Meta lower at 10 a.m. traders selling calls. All right, let's jump over to NVIDIA now. And NVIDIA, very similar to that MAG 7 signal as well as the SP equity signal. A little bit flat up to about 945. Traders start buying calls. A little bit of consolidation at the 850 call wall, key gamma strike, and now they continue to buy calls. And now looks like they've taken their foot off the gas right around 130. And let's compare. Well, just note that just the calls alone for NVIDIA here, 2.7, right now, 2.76 billion. This is a large component of the MAG 7, which is a large component of the SP 500. Hence, this is a large component of the options trades in the S&P 500. This is most likely by far the largest options trades in the S&P 500 today are in NVIDIA. Right, it's a very bullish day in NVIDIA. Traders buying calls, market makers sell the calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure, and that is only enhanced by the breach of the call wall as those calls go deeper in the money. All right, one last stock I want to take a look at. I'm going to go back to the total signal. Let's move on to Tesla. All right, Tesla, I'm going to zoom in. All right, so Tesla, I thought in the morning, this was a pretty clear short. I did post this in Discord. Hero signal making a series of lower highs, price making a series of lower highs. Let's switch back. Calls, traders are selling calls. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Tesla. Let me zoom in on this. I'm going to zoom in on starting pre-market. All right, so what this is showing is before the cash open, Tesla was trading below VWAP, making a series of lower highs. And there was a move up after the cash open up to 171. That was a good entry point for a short. Now let's zoom in on this. And now after the cash open, a couple of tests of VWAP. Good for shorts. Note all the magenta volume dots, a lot of aggressive sellers. Cumulative volume delta falling. Really checks all the boxes in my checklist for a short. Price moving below VWAP. Cumulative volume delta falling. Hero signal falling. Again, in this case, it was traders selling calls. Price moves lower. All right, so then it turns out a long might have been a better play. Although CVD really never picked up, but Tesla did move above VWAP. I think WRB indicated says swing still in place for Tesla from lows. WRB, if you're here, I assume you did take some kind of long position at the lows. Anyway, it looks like now Tesla moving back down. Let's go take a look at a Hero. Jump back to NVIDIA, go to Tesla. All right, so the Hero signal did shift higher right around 10:45. This flow alert might have been a signal that the bottom was near. Hero signal levels off, and Tesla starts to move lower. All right, so Tesla back near the lows of the day. All right, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? I've got a couple of minutes left. All right, Dunia, hope I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Sorry about that. Can I take a look at SBFM? I'm not sure what that is. I certainly don't have it in Bookmap. Let's see if it's available in Hero. SBFM. Sorry, it's not here. There are a limited number of stocks available in Hero, mainly stocks that are pretty heavily driven by options trading. So sorry about that, SBFM not here. All right, so let's take a look at, let's go back to the flow here. So this is SB equities, Mag 7 plus 493. It's leveled off. Now it looks like the SP 500 rolling over a little bit, starting to move lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to the SP 500. Let's take a look at the more traditional, the signal that we're used to, the SP 500 signal. See if there are any additional clues. So that has started to move lower, much more sharply. All right, Kenobi wants to look at SoFi. All right, so traders taking positive delta positions in their buying calls. That is helping to drive price higher today. There's SoFi. Let's go back to the total signal. Go back to and go back to Bookmap, S&P 500. All right, so I'm going to have to watch this for a while. This S&P 500 signal, the one that we're used to, versus this new S&P equities signal, to see which makes more sense. It adds more information. So what we can tell from this, the S&P 500 signal shifting sharply lower. Let's take a look at the S&P equities. This is leveled off. We're moving up. Now moving slightly down. Now price is starting to move lower. So looking at these two combined signals, this could be indicating a top for the day, unless these signals turn around. All right, Abdi asked, what platform is this? I'm not sure what you're talking about, which one. I'm looking at two things here. So first of all, this is Bookmap. And if you want more information, go to bookmap.com. And this is a trading and visualization platform. And then this is Spotgamma Hero. Go to spotgamma.com. This is the part of a Spotgamma subscription, an alpha subscription, showing again real-time options trades and market maker hedging activity. All right, you're welcome, Kenobi. And Katinga, you're welcome as well. And WRB, you're welcome. WRB says, thank you, closed call swings at just short of highs from lows the other day at 140. Healthy trade for a short time scale, call options and stock. And thanks for the extra look at Tesla and NVIDIA. You're welcome. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, and same to you. Enjoy your weekend as well. All right, continue to ask, do you think SP 500 is a better indicator than equities? Hard to say at this point. I've only seen this new S&P equity signal. This is the first day that I've seen it. So it's going to take more time to interpret. But overall, just by first appearance, it certainly looks easier to interpret today. Hero signal rising. Price moves higher. Consolidates. And really, this just sets up a pullback entry for long. And now consolidating again more toward the end of the day, and could be a signal for the top for the day. All right, so I'll just continue to watch this. We'll look at this every session. All right, Abdi, you're welcome. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you very much for your questions and comments. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks again. Bye.